Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Excellence in Customer Service. Make it a great day. My name is Brett Augustine. I am a business advisor for North Central Texas Small Business Development Centers, which is a leading provider for assistance for small businesses. We are grant funded, which allows us to offer services at no cost. Excellence in Customer Service. Make it a great day. Today is going to be presented by Anna Hay. And we're really happy to have her. If you have any questions as we go, please put them in the chat room, in the chat box, and we'll be happy to get to those as we go or whenever she's ready at the end. And if you don't know Miss Anna Hay, she's worked with the Del Mar College, SBDC, in Corpus Christi, Texas A&M University, International University of Laredo, Angelo State College, and in San Angelo. Let me try that again. Angelo State College in San Angelo, and the University of Houston, Victoria in Victoria. She has 35 years of experience in customer service, sales, relationship management, and marketing. And is also an entrepreneur at heart and has a passion for helping business owners succeed in these areas, which is why we've invited her today, and we're very happy to have Miss Anna Hay.
Thank you so much, Brent. Thank you for that introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to be here. This excellence in customer service training was actually the first training that we developed as a company. So I'm real passionate about it, and it's really special to us. But I really want to give a shout out to your SBDCs and all the SBDCs here, really throughout the U.S. But if you are not currently utilizing their services, I highly encourage you to. I've been a client of the SBDC since September 2018, and they're just a great source of information and professionalism for your business. So whether you're a business owner here today, because you're either on the call because you're or on the webinar because you are a business owner and you want to learn more about excellence in customer service, or maybe you're a new entrepreneur, or maybe you're owner and you're a supervisor or manager at your company and your owner asked you to be here. But I just want to thank the SBDC for all that they do. And let's just go ahead and get started. Welcome aboard. Well, I want y'all to give yourselves a high five for being here today, because you are taking an hour to an hour and a half of your time to invest in yourself and your business. And that speaks volumes about how the importance that you're putting into your business. We are all very busy, right? We have busy schedules as business owners. And a lot of times as business owners, we are wearing a lot of hats. We could solely be the person that's doing everything within our business, from the marketing to the customer service, to the accounting, the financing. Or maybe you're a medium-sized company. You've got maybe 10 to 25 employees. So what we're really going to cover today, and I'm going to warn you, it's very basic and it's very universal. But the reason that we wanted to stay with simple when we created this customer service training program was because through our research and just personal experiences, we started seeing that a lot of the fundamentals kind of were not there anymore. So we wanted to bring it to the surface again as like a reminder to business owners, because we know that they're wearing so many hats. So we're going to learn the meaning of great and how that applies to your daily operation, okay? We're going to learn how to really wow your customer and the things that you can do that can set you apart from your competitors. We're going to talk about the friendly state of Texas and how we as a company learned the ropes really takes pride in that. And so we're going to talk about, some businesses, some companies that you're going to know who they are, that are giving that excellent Texas customer friendly service. And we're going to cover 6 points. So it's, like I said, it's going to be very basic, very universal, but let's go ahead and get started. I want you to be thinking about, what is your meaning of great? Without thinking much about it, I just want you to write down, and I'm going to ask at the end of the webinar, what is your meaning of great? The word great. When you think of the word great, what is the first thing that comes to you? You might think of 2 things, okay? Here's an example of some of the meanings of great that I've gotten from some of my other webinars. Sparkle, helpful, satisfied, delightful, exceptional, and happy. Mine is normally happy. That's just the way I am personally in my profession, in my business, that if somebody gets off the phone with me or I'm interacting through an email, that I've somehow have made an impact in their day, that I'm going to make them feel happier. So as you write that word down, it's the word that you are always going to be thinking about as you're applying it to your daily operations in your business. Okay. You're either a brick and mortar business, you're either you provide a service, like we provide. Maybe you're an online shop, but it's going to be your daily reminder when you get, say you're a customer service expert and you're on the phone all the time. How do you want that customer to feel once they've interacted with you on the phone? If you're in person with your customer, how do you want that customer to feel when they walk out the door? It's those lasting impressions that you want to give your customer. So it's how you want to be remembered when you're interacting with your customer. Okay. And I'm going to be giving some personal examples all throughout. And then maybe y'all can share some examples of some excellent customer service experiences and what you might have been able to see just throughout the pandemic, because we are going to talk about how the pandemic has really affected a lot of our businesses, right? But, it's those first impressions. And I love what HubSpot says, about 93% of customers are more likely to purchase again from companies that offer exceptional customer service. So I want you to be thinking, I'm going to give you an example. During the pandemic, HEB, I did curbside for a whole year. And I can honestly tell you that there were about 4 or 5 associates that I really missed seeing. I was thinking, well, how's John doing? And how are these, when you go into the store and I started thinking about what was, how are these people doing? And I want you to be thinking about the brands that you continually go back to. Okay. They provide excellent customer service. Maybe it's a local barista, and I guess you got that local coffee shop, right? Why do you go back there? Is it because they know your name and they know exactly what you want every single time you go in there? There's just something about them and you continually go back there. Or why do you go back to that same restaurant? Or maybe it's a brand that you order online. Why do you continually, when you think, oh, I need this or that, you just get online and you order it? So, what kind of experience are you giving that customer? And we are going to talk a little bit about brands today too, when I'm talking about the step about you are the brand. But just be thinking about excellence in customer service, those businesses that you always go back to. Then HubSpot says 51% of customers will never do business with a company ever again because of a negative experience. So again, think of those businesses that you'll never go back to. Maybe it was a business that you went into and they didn't really greet you properly, or maybe you had a situation where you needed a return and they didn't handle it correctly. So what kind of customer service experience are you creating in your business for your type of business? Okay. And as we all know, customer service is not a department. It's an attitude. It's something, and you might be in a position where you don't interact with the customer on a daily basis. And, business owners, a lot of times, depending on the size of business, y'all aren't going to be there every single day, maybe, as a business owner. So, really making sure that everybody within the company understands the importance of that phone call that comes in, maybe when the receptionist is out, or when that phone call comes in that normally somebody else handles that situation. How are we still going to provide that excellence in customer service? So, here are the 6 steps of excellence in customer service, just getting back to the fundamentals. The first one is going to be first impressions. And you're going to notice throughout the webinar, I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on first impressions, okay? Then we're going to talk about that warm greeting, that Texas warm greeting. We're going to talk about exhibiting knowledge about your brand. I'm also going to include a little bit of knowledge about your community. And then you are the brand. You as an employee or you as a business owner are the brand of your company. And what messages are you sending out by how you run your business, how you interact with your customers, the things that you offer your customers. And then how are we going to make it a great day for our customers? So let's go ahead and get started on first impressions. Why are first impressions so key? And we've heard this throughout the years, right? I mean, again, who hasn't heard this, right? But me, just an example, how can your smile be heard? Especially if you're on the phone a lot. I actually have a little mirror here and it says, can your smile be heard? Because I do so much of my business over the phone and on the computer. So I'm always asking myself, how can my smile be heard? But I love what Jay Danza says here because it's so key. I'm just going to read this to you. Your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card. How you leave others feeling after an experience with you becomes your trademark. Wow. I mean, huge, right? And those first impressions can make such a huge difference. So let's talk about what are some ways that are we going to really focus on for those first impressions that we give our customers. So through the pandemic, and even now, there's a number of places I know here, and even when I was traveling over the holiday break, I was in Colorado, and was a mask mandate there in Colorado. But can your smile be heard through your mask? Look at her; you can see her smile, right? The barista, you can see her smile through her mask. And how are we engaging that eye contact and how are we giving them that warm greeting? I have worked in a number of retail industries throughout my career, and I can tell you there was always a standard in place of when a customer walked in and what we needed to do, stop tasking. But what systems are you going to have in place, or what expectations are you going to have in place as a business owner? I know just a number of years ago when I worked for this one employer, she had a very, very high standard of customer service. And there was always a standard in place for that phone because everybody would call in for their appointments. So we knew that Miss Carla, you had to answer that phone by the second ring. Was it the receptionist's responsibility to answer it? Absolutely not. It was the responsibility of everybody on that team to know that that phone needed to be picked up by the second ring because she did not want it to go to voicemail. So just having a standard in place for your business and knowing, once that customer walks through the door, and you know what, we are all so busy, right? I mean, let's just get real. You're helping people, you're helping one customer, maybe if you're a brick and mortar business and somebody walks in and maybe the line's getting long, but just acknowledging and saying, we'll be right with you. We're a little bit short-handed today. That is happening so much. I can't tell you how many businesses here, and I'm sure y'all have seen it there, have changed their hours. They're closing earlier, or maybe they're only open now 5 days a week versus, 6 days a week. I know that there's one business I'm just thinking of that she changed her hours. So she's only open from Wednesday to Saturday. So communicating that information, but really giving that warm greeting. And how are you going to use your style of giving that warm greeting? And I'm going to give you an example of some things that I do with my greeting as we get to the next section. But Right now, people are still, there's a number of people that are very sensitive and about wearing masks and the safety that businesses are providing out there for their customers. So, business owners, I encourage you to keep your websites updated, especially if you're a brick and mortar, to know what the policies are within your business. And sometimes not even saying anything can, it's without saying something, you can see how the business owner feels about the safety of her employees. I'm going to give you an example. There's a place here and they've got excellent customer service. The name of the business is called Wildflowers, and I love what Jerry did. She actually has these black masks at the front door and the hand sanitizer, so there's no signs on the door. And there are still businesses that have signs on the door. So I'll just, always respect whatever their wishes are. Um, but she has the black masks right there as you walk in the door and the hand sanitizer. And you know what that tells me as a customer? That she's concerned about how I feel about my safety. She doesn't have masks are required or a sign that says that. But as a customer coming into her business, I see she's still concerned. And that's just having that there without even saying anything, right? And there's still a number of businesses that are offering curbside service, and free delivery. Maybe that's something that, if you're able to do within your business, is to offer maybe free shipping, maybe even offering free. I know that there was this one company was offering free shipping all this past weekend because we didn't want to get out in the cold. So, and y'all might have seen that by some brands that you follow, that they were offering free shipping. So still letting customers know what you might have in place, even without saying something, just the example that I gave you, and just continuing to continue to thank them for coming in, especially, really appreciate your business right now, as we're still in this transition time. So, and things that you can be thinking about as during your customer visits. I know I talked to you about the warm greeting, and I kind of got ahead of myself, but I wanted to tell you the greeting that I normally use. So anyway, but because I'm on the phone all the time and I do get a lot more calls and emails, when I answer my phone, I normally say, "Hi, this is Anna. How can I make your day great?" And it really catches people off guard. I mean, it's a very authentic greeting, right? But it's kind of funny too, because some people will go directly to the conversation. I answered a call the other day, and the person on the other line said, "Oh, that was so nice," So just thinking about greetings that you can be doing, and being real authentic with your dialogue, even as you're engaging with your customer. I love this picture right here, because it just, you can really see that the server is interacting with her customer. She's talking, she's having a good time. But talk to me and I will remember the way that you made me feel, right? So, making sure that you're using your name, and that people, name tags. I recently was at a meeting, a networking meeting, and somebody was talking about how the name tags are really coming back. And I started thinking, you are right. The name tags, we all need to be wearing our name tags when we're out, with our businesses. Because, and especially if you're a business where you are seeing people in person, um to have the name tags on and even have something creative. I can remember, and I can remember one business that did this. It was a furniture company, but they had the name of the employee's name, just the first name, and then at the bottom it had their hometown. I thought that was such a great way to engage. And then I remember another company having the name tags and it had their hobby. So, what a great way to engage with your customers. And because of this pandemic that we've been in, there's so many people that are still, working remotely, right? And the hybrid working model is still going to remain and still going to continue. So, how are we going to engage with our customers? What are we going to do if we're, in a type of business, say you own a boutique, and asking them, "So what brought you in today? How did you hear about us?" are you visiting here, in town? Maybe you're a server and that menu's really long, right? Maybe you can, offer and say something like, let me tell you one of the things that I really like on one of my favorite things on our menu that, or maybe this is something, special that we're offering today. Really trying to get that engagement with your customer. I know we've seen so much about customer service, hearing so much about customer experience, but how about that engagement? Why is it so important? Because it shows that you care. It shows that you're interested. It shows that you're welcoming and that you want that customer there, right? So again, throughout your engagement with your customer, how are you going to bring back that word great? Whatever word you chose is great into that conversation and into that dialogue. Um, I really wanted to share about why to us it's so important. And we're still on first impressions, y'all, right? We are still there. I told you, well, we're going to take some time here, but the friendly state of Texas, the friendship word was adopted back in 1930. And everybody knows Texas as being the most friendliest state, right? I was in a sales position a number of years ago where I traveled a lot, and everybody would always compliment you Texans are so friendly. So we as a company really stand by that. We're known for our Texas hospitality here in Texas. And in fact, our late George W. Bush designated the first week in October as National Customer Service Week back in 1992. And the theme for this past year was celebrating the heart of service. So, and we are continually doing that as a company. But we really pride ourselves in staying with that Texas motto. And business owners, maybe you can start thinking about something that you can be doing to celebrate for next year in October during that week, and recognizing also your teams during that time, but maybe doing some special things for your customers during that week. So I want to go ahead and I want to recognize some Texas-based companies that we see really stand out amongst so many other businesses. And as I'm giving you these examples, I want you to be thinking of your business. Be thinking of your business model. Entrepreneurs, be thinking of the type of business that you're looking at maybe developing. And what are some things that you can do very creatively that are going to stand out from your competitors? And the first example is that I wanted to give you is Kendra Scott. So, gentlemen, I know y'all are familiar with Kendra Scott too, okay? And there's so many things that she does that stands out. But the first thing that I think of is her philanthropy, how she gives back, how she's continually giving back, how she started her center at the University of Texas for women. But she is consistent even during the pandemic, and I haven't shopped there in person. I ordered some gifts over the holidays, but she was standing very, 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 very tight to what the CDC was saying. I know I visited there during the pandemic at her flagship store, where she was, only allowing the percentage of people that were allowed in there. But how does she stand out? How does her business stand out? And how do you want your business to stand out? Hers is philanthropy, her friendliness, just her consistency in keeping her customers safe throughout this time. The second one there is James Avery. I know y'all know who James Avery is, based out of Kerrville, Texas. But what is it and how do they stand out? If you go into any of their stores, you're going to notice that there's normally 2 to 3 people up at the front. And they'll have iPads to direct you if there's something that you've seen online. Their cases are immaculate, just immaculate, the way that they're set up. And you can do a little sign. You can fill out. There's numbers that are associated with each item that you want. And if you saw something online and you're trying to describe it, they're gonna help you find it on through the website, right? But again, what are they doing differently that separates them from others? Okay. And Buc-ee's. Okay. Buc-ee's. Everybody that's been in Texas, and now they're outside of Texas, they are out of the Houston area. But what are they doing that's different than other people in their type of business? What are they known for? They have the cleanest bathrooms in America. The cleanest bathrooms in America. I mean, that's huge. Is that a customer service experience? Absolutely, it's a customer service experience, because when you're on the road, you want to stop somewhere that's clean and safe. And if you haven't tried their homemade potato chips, they're really great too. Try their homemade potato chips. But I mean, they stand out from everybody else. I mean, a lot of times you'll just wait. Well, we need to stop. No, 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 let's wait because Buc-ee's is just two more exits down, right? And Consuela. Consuela is based out of Austin. And why do they stand out? Yes, they have beautiful handbags made from materials out of Mexico, but what is it that stands out? To us, what stands out for them is how they give back to the community, how they recognize a woman every week. You nominate somebody that's doing a great job in the community, maybe he's gone through some hard times, but has been through. Well, Consuelo will reach out to that woman and recognize her on their social media about maybe the challenges that she's gone through and the differences that she's making in her community. So it's those little things. So be thinking about your business. What is it that you offer? You either provide a service, you have, you have a boutique, you have a restaurant. What's going to set you apart from your competitors? And I was listening to a podcast, and this has just stuck with me because I'm a big podcast listener. But Kendra Scott said in a podcast is, if you are doing exactly what your competitors are doing, you're already failing. You have got to think outside, and get advice from your teams, because, especially with our millennials, and they're so creative with their ideas and what they have to offer. But I really wanted to recognize these Texas-based companies so that we can look at our businesses and go, okay, they're doing this, but my business isn't that. But what can I do differently to set us apart? Give the customer that warm welcome. We're on step 2. Okay, we're finally on step 2, y'all, because we spent so much time on first impressions, but first impressions are so important. So a lot of this is going to kind of sound like first impressions, because we want to talk about having a creative greeting, always saying your name when you answer the phone of the business, how you're going to, interact and use your tone. But what are some things saying, let's say you are on the phone all the time. So your position is a customer service expert and you're always on the business line. How are you going to, what are some things that you're going to make sure that you're going to want to say, that you're going to want to make sure to say, your name, and to ask for their phone number in case the phone gets disconnected. How many times have we been on a call and maybe we were calling in because we had a complaint or we weren't happy, and then we get through and the call just drops and we're like, oh my gosh, have to start this conversation all over again, right? So make sure that you get their name and get their phone number before you get off the phone. And I told you that I wanted to give you an example of an experience that I had, or other experiences that I've had in just customer service experiences over the phone. So I'm going to give you this experience. It's from my phone carrier. It's not important that I tell you who they are. But I want to tell you about this call that happened in January of 2021, because I bought a new phone in 2020. And I know I shared a lot about being authentic in your calls, but this just is over the top. Okay, but I'm going to read it right to you. This is what he said. I called in because I got a new phone and I had a question about my new phone. So he said, thank you, Mrs. Hay, for being a loyal customer for 15 years. This is Mike, the expert, who's going to make it right. How can I help you today? I was like, okay, Mike, wait a second. Mike, this is okay. This is huge. I said, your name just rhymed with right. I said, and you know what? I said, Mike, I'm a customer service trainer, and I have to tell you something. I noticed something. I noticed something about this, the way you greeted me, is that you all don't have scripted calls because not everybody's name is Mike. And he's like, you're right. He said, our company wants us to have more of a conversation with our customer than we do have a script. So when you call in, and I don't know who calls, I don't call my phone carrier. I mean, I called my phone carrier in 2021, and then prior to that was probably 3 years before that I called in. I said, but you know what, Mike? I said, this is consistent. I said, you know why? Because 3 years ago, I was wanting to call out of the country and I didn't know whether I was going to get charged. So when I called about 3 years ago, the service rep thanked me for my service, thanked me for how many years I've been with the company, and then said, how can I make you smile today? I said, so this is consistent. I said, this is key. I said, because so many times when you call, especially a huge company like that, it's always so scripted. So be thinking, business owners, entrepreneurs, how do you want your greeting to be? Are they going to remember you by your greeting? I'm going to remember Mike, who's the expert who's going to make it right, you know? So that's just an example, and we all can learn, right? We all can learn from other people. So be thinking, business owners, how do you want to wow that engagement? How, when somebody is thinking about doing business with you, is going to do business with you because they feel welcomed, because there's something about your business that's different than the other. So again, what is your meaning of great that you're expressing in your dialogue? So I just had to share that with you. I mean, it was just such a great experience. So, welcoming back our customer through the pandemic was really kind of hard, right? When we started to open back up, it was really hard to ask those questions like, how are you? How are you? We haven't seen you in a while because people were really going through some hard times. So even now, welcoming our customer back, I don't know what it is, but I'm sure you all have seen a lot of those like chalkboard signs. Either somebody within the company has, some artistic talent, or maybe they get somebody to come in and create a new sign or on the windows, just letting your customers know how important it is that they feel welcome and that you're happy to see them. I know a number of businesses maybe haven't had the traffic flow that they wanted, since the pandemic started. Maybe offering, some type of incentive for a drawing, when customers do come in to visit, filling out, even if it's just their phone number and their name, or their email address, and then having a drawing every week. I used to see that. I haven't seen that in a really long time. You know how you could put your business card in like one of those little jars and then you'd get like a free lunch? I cannot remember the last time I've seen that. So that's just an idea maybe for you business owners. Maybe it'll encourage to have more, traffic come through, and just always remembering to say thank you. There is power in the word hello, and there's power in a handwritten note. If you know me personally, or if I've done business with you, you should have by now received some type of thank you note. And the reason I truly believe that thank you notes are so important is because it says four things. There's 4 steps that have to go into writing a thank you note. You have to buy the thank you note. You have to write the thank you note. And if you're anything like me who did not get an A+ in penmanship, you've had to rewrite that thank you note, right? You bought the stamp. Y'all, stamps are 58 cents now. When we sent out our Christmas cards this past year, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like 58 cents a stamp. Then you have to mail it. Okay. And if you've missed the post office, or you need to get to the post. So there's 4 steps. So business owners, start thinking about, how do you want to thank your customer? Do you want to, is there somebody that, can write a hand thank you note, or as you're getting started, just how are you going to thank your customer? So those are just some key, and thank you for shopping local. Thank your customers for shopping local. There's so many choices today to shop online, to shop local, to shop the major retailers. And I'm sure we all shop the major retailers, but we as people know that Anna Hay shops local. They know that. I've had people say, Anna, you're so good at supporting local. So again, that's something that stands out from other businesses like me here in the community. Anna Hayes supports local. So just be thinking about those little things. Um, exhibit, I'm looked over here because I'm looking at time. Step number 3 is exhibit knowledge about your brand in your community. And I put community in there because it's important that we know our community, right? Right here, it's the T Heads in the downtown area. If you haven't been to Corpus Christi in a while, the downtown area is looking really nice. But the best customer service people know their products. I saw so much of this during the pandemic and even now. Um, a number of retailers were having a hard time and still today carrying certain and making sure that they still have the same products in their stores, in their merchandise, because how we went through that time right around the holidays where the shipments of trying to get to places were just having a hard time. Businesses were having a hard time getting their products in. So the best customer service people know their brand. They know their products. And maybe this is a time too that you can, how we all get so loyal to certain things. We go to a store and we're just so used to, seeing this one brand there or seeing something. Maybe as a customer service, expert, you can, let your customer know that we have some new things. We've got some new merchandise. I know you're so used to seeing this, but now we offer this. And knowing what your customer service mission statement is for either the company that you work for or business owners, really communicating that with your teams. Let them know what the expectations they have. Let them know your customer service mantra. Understand the return policy. The best customer service people know their return policy. They know it. They don't have to go, okay, well, I think it's this. I'm not really sure. No, knowing exactly what your return policies are and knowing what your expectations and our mantra for Learn the Ropes is make it a great day. Simple. Whoever we interact with, that is our goal, is to make their day great. So what is your customer service mantra? And if you don't have one right now, that's okay. Brainstorm with your team, come up with something that's unique and that's going to stand out and that's simple, that that you can remember. This is a great example too. I know y'all know who Discount Tire is, right? Do they not? I mean, like, excellent customer service. Well, I remember the last time I was there, all I needed was air, and I needed to get the air checked on my tires. So there's a line. That's all the gentleman does is all day he's checking the air in the tire. And so as I'm sitting there in my car, he's checking the tires. I'm looking over to the right, and that's where the garage is, right? Up at the very top inside says to be your best. And I was like, oh my gosh, they had this huge sign so that all of their employees every day, that's what they see all day long. And I was like, wow. I was like, that they've got, and of course they've been recognized a number of times for having excellent customer service, but it's because their mission statement is so clear because their employees can see it every day. So that is just so important and something that you really do want to really make aware to your employees. Okay, I got ahead of myself. I started talking about shortage of inventory on the other slide. So but again, understanding your brand, understanding what's happened during the pandemic with your inventory and the things that had to change for your business over time. I know a number of restaurants that downsized on their menus. Y'all probably saw that, right? Where they didn't offer all of the items that they had offered before. So it was a real select menu. And I mentioned this at the beginning, how there's businesses too that have changed their hours. So, there's been quite a bit of things that have changed for businesses. I mean, businesses had to pivot. Like, I mean, we did. I mean, we just shifted. Everything had to shift, because we did all of our training in person. So, understanding, what businesses have had to go through, even as a consumer, instead of maybe feeling like, they don't offer that anymore. Oh, well, what do they offer? They've had to make some changes. So, what are we going to see that's new? So, going to step number 4, learning to listen. And I broke this down into an acronym, and we're going to go through each step. But we cover a lot more of this in dealing with difficult customers. There's going to be a webinar on dealing with difficult customers where I really go in and give really thoroughly examples. But how can we learn to listen? Listen is actually my word theme of the year, to listen more. But how are we going to listen to our customers? We're really going to listen to them because we're going to empathize, we're going to act, we're going to respond, and we're going to notify. Let's start with listening. How can we let our customers know that we're really listening when we're on a call with them, or when they come in person with us and we need to interact with them? Let me give you an example, or let me give you an example of how you can let your customer know that you're really listening when you're trying to handle a situation over the phone. Let's say Mrs. Smith calls in and she's really unhappy. She expected to get something delivered on time for a special occasion. Let's just say it was her grandson's graduation. It did not get there on time. She is not happy, right? So she calls in, and you get her on the line, and you thank her for being a customer. You thank her, if you know how long she's been a customer, you thank her for being a customer. But you know what? You might want to say, Mrs. Smith, do you mind if I take down some notes while we're talking? Because I want to make sure that I've got all the information correct, because I understand how you feel. You really wanted this to get to your grandson's graduation on time. So I'm going to take down some notes. What do you think Mrs. Smith's going to think? Oh, wow, this customer service representative is taking down some notes while I talk to them. And you know what? This actually happened to me the other day. I was calling Verbo for a discrepancy in something from a visit that I had back in December. And I thought, this guy must have been taking my training, because he goes, I said, because it was a very, very complex situation. I'm like, I'm trying to explain it to you the best way that I know how. I actually wrote it down so I could read it to you because it was so confusing. And he said, Mrs. Hay, don't worry, I'm taking down notes so I can forward it to the, I don't know what team it was, but whatever department it was that had to look at it, the review team or something. And I thought, was he in my training class? But taking down, that's a great way to let your customer know that you were listening, okay, is by letting them know that you're taking down some notes. Really empathizing more than anything else. And I know you all have felt this way before too, people want to be heard. They want to know that you're listening. They want to know that you understand that they're concerned, and they want to know that you feel the way that they do, putting yourselves in their shoes. But empathizing, if she says she's frustrated, well, then as a customer service expert, you respond back. I understand your frustration. I understand your disappointment. Whatever it is that they're saying, that you empathize back with them the same. Or if you have another feeling that they didn't express and you put yourselves in their shoes, I'd be really upset right now. So I want you to know that I'm going to take care of this, and I'm going to make it right. Just like Mike was going to make it right, right? And do what you say you're going to do. So many times, I know we have so much going on. We have so many distractions, right? But not distractions. We've got other things. We've got, these other list of things that have to get done today. But really responding to them and acting on what you say that you're going to do. If you say that you're going to get back to Mrs. Smith, let's say it's a situation that you really felt like you could get back to Mrs. Smith by 5 o'clock, right? you're making it a top priority, and you're letting her know that you understand her problem and her concern, and you're going to make it right. So these are the steps that I'm going to take, and I'm going to get back with you by the end of the day, Mrs. Smith. But what happens when you're acting right? You're letting her know the next steps and you're working towards it. But what happens when you can't get back to her, or the problem's not going to be resolved right then, right? You're going to respond immediately to the situation. Maybe giving her a call back if you know that you're not going to have the answer for her that day, calling her back and say, or maybe it's an email, whatever communication wave you had with her, whether it's an email or call, letting them know, you know, I thought that I was going to have the answers today, but I'm not able to because I still need to get my supervisor or whatever. Just responding and letting her know what your next steps are, and the politeness of calling her back. Because how many times have we all been in situations, right? We're waiting for a response and nobody's gotten back with us, right? But then you're going to stand out as a company, right? Because you're going to offer that extra excellent service, and you're going to wow that customer by calling them back to tell them that you don't have the answer. Okay. And notifying management of either a good situation or a concern or problem. Business owners and owners are, like I mentioned before, are not always in the business. They could be an owner, or an owner and own other businesses. So they've got a manager that's there. But notifying the management team when something good and something maybe needs to be brought to their attention. They might not know a new product. Let's say it's a new product that's doing really well. Gosh, people are really liking this. Or, people don't like that we're only opened 4 days a week, or people, are really missing that one item on the menu that, they keep on asking if it's coming back. I'm just thinking of this one place that I just keep on or do y'all ever think you're going to bring that item back because it was so good, but just expressing that and letting management know. I love what Bill Gates says here, that your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. Isn't that true? They really are. We are not going to make everybody happy all the time. So we as business owners have to learn from those experiences that are uncomfortable, right? And work through those and go, what did we learn from here? And, like I'd mentioned, we are in a time where our customers really do want to be heard. And letting them know that they are being heard by really understanding and empathizing with them. So I know we spent quite a bit of time on that. But now we're on step 5. You are the brand. Employee branding is really the way that a company is the way that an employee kind of takes in the mission statement and their values, their core values, and the business all as a whole. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of 2 businesses that do that, national companies that do that extremely well. Value proposition is what you're promising the customer if they buy your brand. So if you do business with us, these are our expectations, and this is what you're going to do, and this is how why you're going to buy from us. So the value proposition refers back to the value of what the company promises. So I'm going to give you 2. Excuse me one second. The customer service is really about giving. I love what the late Mr. Kathy says from Chick-fil-A. Who doesn't like Chick-fil-A, right? I mean, seriously, I think they are still up at the top as one of the top companies of excellence in customer service. But I love what he says. He talks about customer service is about giving, no matter what business you're in, and it's so true. What if every single time you came in contact with a customer, you asked yourself, how could I make this person's day? And then did it. They do such an excellent job of customer service. They really do. And I know during the pandemic, I felt like I was going through that. I needed that I needed that experience, customer service experience. I'm not kidding you. In fact, this was just a few weeks ago when my husband and I were trying to decide who was going to go through the drive-through. I'm like, well, I want to go. I mean, I really wanted to go because they have, I mean, they're always helpful. They're quick. And I don't know about y'all, but I love when they say my pleasure. It's just the standard. They just always say it and they're always consistent. So as business owners, what can we learn from them? What can we learn that we want to apply in our business, that we want customers to have that same experience? Like, they want to come to us because they want the experience, right? Value propositions. Southwest Airlines does an excellent job of this. They continually offer friendly customer service. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't particularly like to fly, but it never keeps me from going anywhere. Okay. But what is it that they stand out from the others, right? There's something about their friendliness, I think, that takes away from that. If you have a fear of flying, that they're so warm, they're funny. A lot of the flight attendants are just funny. Some of the funny things that they say. But there's just I feel safer. I will tell you, I honestly feel safer flying Southwest. When I worked for a company a number of years ago and I was always on the plane, of course they were just trying to get the cheapest flights for all the 40 reps. So they didn't care who you were flying, just as long as they got the cheapest rates. But Southwest always talks about their low fares, right? So that's a value problem. That's a promise. Is it true? Yep, they stand by it. And they offer free snacks. That's always great. But I think I think I feel safer and I don't know if y'all agree with me, I feel safer flying Southwest because they're so friendly. So again, what's your value proposition in your business? And a lot of times we haven't thought about what's the value proposition when we're buying something. We just buy from that brand because they promise this and they always deliver that, right? So you represent your company brand as business owners. Um, and I'll give you an example of just me and my brand and our company. We not only teach customer service, but my son and I are extremely respectful to businesses that offer service or as we're out. When I'm out, I'm not on my phone in the HEB line. I'm not on my phone when I'm in the bank. We are a customer service company and we appreciate the service that other people give us. When I'm out, sometimes I'll thank the checker, or I'll thank the associate at Target. I'll say, thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. Make it a great day. How did you know my name? It's on your name tag. So you represent your brand, whatever your brand is. And I even, your employees represent your brand. So you always speak good about, your employer, when you're out. If you need to say something that's bothering you, say it in private or something. But, we represent our brand, and as business owners, I just know how I want my brand to be represented and how I want other people to see our brand. So, you know, we help businesses create better customer service experiences so that they can build loyalty with their customers. That's what we do. So business owners, entrepreneurs, be thinking too, if somebody asked you, just, what does your brand say? And if you can identify it and really like define it very simply, a lot of other ideas are going to come. Just very naturally will come. Step number 6, make it a great day. What does great mean to you? What do you want somebody to remember about you in your word great? Keeping that conversation more authentic than being scripted. When you're engaging with that customer, say your word was sparkle. I guess you want them to feel, there's something like, you just want them to me, a sparkle is just like powerful or kind of, just out there, light, one of the words I think was delightful. You want to make sure as you're interacting with your customer on whatever level that is, if it's on the phone, in person, you want to delight in their day. So here's the number. Yeah, we went over, what is your meaning of great? A number of words to use: sparkle, helpful, satisfied, delightful, exceptional, happy. The 6 key points. We spent a lot of time on first impressions and why that's so important. 2, giving them a warm welcome. Maybe you and your team can come up with a great greeting, a phone greeting, or somebody walks in your business, a greeting. We spent quite a bit of time on step 3 too, talking about exhibit knowledge about your brand and your community. And when I was talking about community, it's important to know, especially, well, here we're a tourist city, so people want to know, like, where the beach is, right? Like, do you mean Port A, or do you mean the island, or do you mean the bayfront? So, as people are visiting your community, they're going to be asking you too for certain places to eat, refer them to a local place. And then we spent a lot of time on step number 4, learn to listen. How are we going to listen? We're going to empathize, we're going to act, we're going to respond, we're going to notify the management team. And remembering you are the brand, and what are you representing as a company, you individually in your business, and making it a great day. Here are some excellent customer service phrases, excuse me. As we're moving along, we don't have to go over all of them, but there's just some really good ones here to think about. Let's say you call in and to a business and they're like, I'd be happy to help you. She's really happy to help me. Wow, gosh, she really sounded like she wanted to help me today. Or, your time is really valuable, so let me make sure to get back with you promptly. Your time is really valuable. I love it when people value my time, don't y'all? Let me make sure I have all the information. How many times have we tried to solve something and we start writing it down and we think we've got all the information? We're like, wait, I forgot to ask her that, or I forgot to ask him that. Call the customer back, or, maybe you're through the call and you're like, I need a little bit more information. You know, we appreciate you choosing to do business with us. There's so many businesses today that lots of new businesses starting up, and I'm sure y'all have seen that a lot at the SBDCs. Probably more online businesses than we've seen in the past. There's so much out there. Thanking your customer. Thank you so much for shopping local. Thank you so much for shopping with us. Great question. Wow, you're handling a call with a customer who's unhappy. Great question. You've never heard that question before, ever. And you've worked for the company for 5 years and you've never heard that question. Great question. How's that customer going to feel on the other end, right? Just some new ideas for the new year, business owners. What worked? What are some new ideas that you want to implement this year? Really having a focus on, and it might just be a couple of things that you're really focused on this year. We're going to update our website. We're going to make some changes to our website this year. Do we have a good website right now? Yeah, it's a good website, but you know what? We're going to have a professional come in and redo our website. What difference are you making in the community? There's a lot of businesses, and I wanted to use them as an example, and I do have some time to use them because they just did such a great job. And this really relates to, how are you making a difference in your community? It's real important that you as a business owner, that your customers know what you're giving back to the community. So including that in your social media, and I'm not a social media expert at all. I do all my own social media though, post and everything. But giving back to your community. People like to do business with companies that are giving back to their community. And I want to recognize this one organization here in town because they did such an excellent job of customer service, and it was just so out there. I was just like thrown back. But the name of the organization is called Youth Odyssey. I'm holding on to a little card that they had sent me. But back in October, they did a day of giving. Y'all probably have that too, where y'all have like a day of giving within your community, right? So they did a day of giving, and I made a contribution. And y'all, it wasn't a huge contribution. Okay, we're still a small company, but you still give back, right? And so I made a contribution. The next day, we got a phone call. I got a phone call, and the gal, her name was Sabney. She was so sweet on the phone. She goes, Mrs. Hay, she said, this is Sabney from Youth Odyssey, and Youth Odyssey is a nonprofit organization that does a lot of personal development with at-risk youth, right? So they work a lot with the middle schools and the high schoolers. So she said, I just wanted to call and thank you for your donation yesterday in the day of giving. We really appreciate you. And I was like, Sabney, I said, Sabney, I have never gotten a call from anybody from a donation. I can't remember if I did, but I hadn't. So I thanked her. I thanked her so much for her call. And then the next week, I got a card, like a postcard in the mail, and it was signed by each employee there and mailed out the following week. That is huge. So right now they're going to have their biggest fundraiser of the year, and I want to participate in that. But it's those little things. I got a call from a nonprofit organization thanking me for my donation. It wasn't a huge amount. And then a card in the mail signed by everybody saying thank you. So that's just, I meant to share it earlier, but as we were talking about nonprofit organizations and as business owners, what we can be doing to really support, because people like to support businesses that are reaching out to their community. So I covered a lot of information, y'all. I do want to share just a few other examples of some successful companies that have stand out within their competitors. And then we'll go ahead and we'll close and we'll ask for some questions and some takeaways and comments. But I don't know if y'all are probably familiar, since you all are in the area that you're in, probably more in the Metroplex area, but the name of the company is called Trader Joe's. And the reason that I want to give this example is because there's this one mantra that they stand by that I just realized this last year, 2021, when I was in Austin quite a bit, because they're mainly, and they're a grocery store chain. Sorry, H-E-B, no, but they're a grocery store chain that's out of California. But this one thing that I'm going to share with you stands out from every place else. Okay. But if you visit any of their locations, I don't know, probably if y'all are in Denton, the closest one's probably going to be somewhere in the Fort Worth area, maybe. But they have a sign right behind their customer service section. And I never realized this until I saw the sign and looked around the store, but it says, no self-service lanes here. We believe in friendly people helping you out. So when you go to a Trader Joe's, you can't check yourself out at all. You have to be greeted by one of their friendly associates, and they're very friendly. They're known for having their friendliest people. But it's those small. I was like, oh my gosh, you were. It was like I looked up, I saw the sign, I looked around, I'm like, you were right. You cannot check out. That is a standard that they have because they value your business so much. So I just wanted to point that out because I just thought that was just so key. And they reference, I guess, their team as their crew. But business owners out there, how do we reference our customer service teams? I did some research here, and here are some names of customer service teams from bigger companies that just have a great success within their business. Happiness team, Happiness Help Center, customer loyalty team, client relations department, And how about customer service reps instead of calling them customer service reps? Customer service expert, customer service relationship, relationship team. That was for the teams. Customer service agent, customer service ambassador. So it's those little things that make such a huge difference. And I just want to, how we can just be creative, right? And we all have some type of creativity within us. But there might be other people within your organization, and don't we just love to pull from other ideas within our team of people? So I have covered a lot of information today. So I'd like to share some takeaways, maybe some ideas or some questions that y'all might have, and go from there.
Thank you so much, Anna. This is great, great information for those people that are just trying to make their brands and really think about how we want to structure being focused on clients. I think that's huge. And if you didn't get any takeaways, everybody, here's my big one as I put it on right now, right there.
Oh,
Okay.
your name tag?
Yes, ma'am. It is now officially there because I do have it, and sometimes we just forget to put it on. And you're right. If somebody knows your name, or maybe you introduced yourself and they forgot it already, if they just have a name tag to look at, you can establish that relationship a lot easier. So I think that personally was a great takeaway. And with that, if anybody has any questions, please place them in the chat box, or please feel free to unmic yourself or raise your hand, and I'll be happy to let you ask Anna directly. We do have one question in the chat box currently. It's, how would you handle unsatisfactory service? I know you're going to focus on this, I believe, later on in another session, but maybe you could touch on it a little bit.
Yeah. I'm glad that someone asked that question, because even when I was given a webinar just last week on handling unhappy customers or dissatisfied customers, um, we're human, right? And we are going to make mistakes, and we do need to be ready and prepared when we are going to have those unhappy customers, you know, and really addressing those as a business owner, because they're just going to happen. There's going to be deliveries that aren't going to come in. There's going to be a customer that they didn't feel like we met their expectations. So one of the things too, and I'll be really sharing more about this in detail, is really listening to them. And what does listening mean? It means letting them talk. You know how many times we just want to interrupt? I don't know. Oh, okay, I'll say that's why why my word thing for the year is listen. It's like, if I can just, because I think it's just human nature, especially when they're expressing a concern that they're dissatisfied, and you want to say, well, that shouldn't, let them talk. Let them talk. Let them express why they're upset and dissatisfied. And then just let them know that you're gonna work through the steps to make the situation, to make sure that they're going to be happy with the situation. But we're going to get into a lot more detail on that in another webinar. But I just to really, really listen, because we have distractions. We want to interrupt and say something, and just being ready and prepared, as business owners. If this occurs, what are we going to do? And are we always going to be prepared? No, because we're either, things are busy and happening, or that situation's never happened before. And we're like, oh gosh, that's never happened before. So how are we going to handle it? What are we going to do? So I hope that helps.
I think that was a great, great way to put it. And yeah, so acknowledge that they have a problem and listen to what that problem is. Pay attention. So yeah, so you can resolve it. That's great. Let's see here. I believe somebody have their hand raised. They did moments ago. If you do, just unmic yourself and ask your question. perhaps they got shy there at the end. Don't worry about it. Happy to help either way. But if you do have a question, please go ahead and unmic yourself. In the meantime, I'll let you continue with any closing remarks that you have, Anna.
Yeah, does anybody have their meaning of great? I know it kind of throws people off, but it really does make a difference. Any word that they chose for their meaning of great, maybe?
Excellence.
Excellence.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how about the greeting? Did y'all like different, you know, what's your idea maybe of having some specialty greetings pertaining to your type of business? Anyone come up with anything? I know. Sometimes you just have to really kind of really, think about, okay, what type of business do I have? Is there something very unique about what we offer? And how can we be creative?
Right. Well, there's one that I thought of for a company called Let's Film It, which is let it. That's the greatest idea I've heard all day. Let's film it. That's one of the ways that they greet. I was like, that's the greatest idea I've heard all day. Let's film it. My name's
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, right. So using your analogy there and trying to apply some of that fun to it. So try to be unique
Right.
and personal.
Awesome. Yes. Personal, authentic, and unique. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you all being on this webinar today, and I appreciate the North Central Texas SBDC for hosting this. And every Monday, I have a motivational post on my social media platforms, and if you like to be encouraged on Mondays, I encourage you to go there. But I really appreciate y'all taking the time. I hope this made a difference and helped you business owners and entrepreneurs, because we wear so many hats. It's me and my son, and I'm the trainer, I'm the presenter. But we do business owners. We wear so many hats. And so that's why we lean on our SPDC to guide us with webinars and advisors that have been in our shoes. And so I encourage you to reach out to them too, because they have so many great resources out there to help us in areas that we just need guidance in, right? So I encourage you to reach out to them. So thank you so much for today.
And thank you again, Anna. And just to remind everybody, this is not the end. In fact, if I could, I'd like to share with you some of the upcoming fun that's still going on in February. We're going to give you a break tomorrow, but on the 10th, we start up again with North Central Texas SBDC orientation with Rebecca Schultz and team building activities you can do with Lorna Kibbe. On the 14th, we're also, that's a special day as well, but we're going to have an intro to QBO, which is QuickBooks Online, Payroll Part 1 with Stacy Kendall, and managing cash flow during periods of uncertainty. Not that that ever happens, but when it does, you want to be prepared. Angela Randolph's going to come back and give us some information on that. On the 15th, free tools to write better copy with Ashley Cook, and communicating with difficult customers. Guess who? That's right, Anna Hay coming back, and we're really happy that all of you were able to join us today. I do want to thank a few of our sponsors. We want to thank the Small Business Administration, the state of Texas, North Central Texas SBDC Regional Office, and North Central Texas College for helping make all this happen. If you have any questions, you see the QR code at the top. Please go and look at, that'll take you directly to our website for more upcoming webinars that you can sign up for, and we'll be happy to have you aboard as we continue our training series all the way through March. And it is a full agenda, so please look at all the wonderful stuff we have for everybody there. Or if you actually want to schedule a time with a business advisor, you can go to our website at sbdc.nctc.edu, also on the slide at the bottom. and we'll be happy to schedule time with you, one-on-one confidential appointment, just to discuss you and your business. So with that said, Anna, I want to thank you so much for all of the wonderful information today. We look forward to having you back later this month. And thank all of you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Make it a great
Conclude
day.
our webinar for today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.